Tex Haynes, welcome to the Call to Cast podcast.
Thank you, buddy. Glad to be here. Took long enough.
Yeah, we've been scheduling this for a while. It's something I've wanted to line up for a minute because we've talked a little bit about kind of what Call to Cast stands for, and you let me in a little bit on your story and what connects you with fishing. And so today I want to hear the rest of that story, full details, everything, because I've been on a cliffhanger the whole time and really excited to learn about you. I met Tex Haynes at Southwest Tackle. Y'all were doing the first round, I think, of the Hags Prickly Pear drop.
Yeah, we had hooked the trailer up. Me and Justin was running around making our rounds, and I don't even remember what the number was. We had 10,000 prickly pears. I think we was dropping off to shills alone, and we were like, man, this is such a big deal.
Yeah.
It's gotten slightly bigger since.
Oh, yeah, it has. It's been taking off. And we're going to get into that. But, I've followed you for a while on Facebook. You have a tremendous following on there. I want to know a little bit about what led you up to that point in fishing. Like, where did you get your start in fishing?
Man, so it goes back to childhood like it does for most of us. But actually, as a child, I was more of a hunter than I was a fisherman. And then back when I was a kid, my dad was a diesel mechanic raising all of his kids by himself. And there was times when money was tight. So Dad would come home and we had, I'll never forget, you remember the little metal Zipcos, the Zipco 33s?
Yeah.
He got each one of us one of them, probably on a $5 rod. We'd get several packs of little 90-cent beetle spins.
Yes.
And we would head out to Bridgeport. We was wading out in the water. We didn't even have a boat. And we all had stringers tied to our shorts. And Dad's like, do not throw anything back. So as it's getting dark, here we all come out of the water. We got stringers. We have sand bass, crappie, whatever would hit them beetle spins.
Right.
And that helped alleviate some of the grocery bills. So that's kind of how our love and passion, started as a means to eat when we were young. And, just kind of grew from there.
At what point did that transition into, bass fishing?
So I went through a little rough patch in my 20s, as I had told you. This is part of the cliffhanger, where I got in some trouble, and I ended up going to prison for 10 years. It was due to a drug addiction. I was just on a bad path, and it got to a point to where I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to reel myself back in or not. And people go through life and they have their struggles and they fight their demons and everything else. And everybody has their rock bottom where a change needs to be made. And we have a heavenly Father above that's watching every move we make.
Yes.
And he knew what I needed. So I got in trouble. The day that I got arrested, I remember them doors shutting behind me whenever I walked into the cell. But I had like this sense of peace that just rushed over my soul, right? And I knew what I had done, and I knew I was going to be gone for a long time. But I wasn't going to be that guy that went in there and said, I didn't deserve this, or I didn't deserve this amount of time, or this is not right. I went in looking at it as this is a gift from God, right? He knew what I needed. He knew I wasn't going to straighten up on my own, because I had every opportunity in the world. I had a dad who was my hero. He done everything for us. He sacrificed for us. I had grandparents that never let me do without, kept me in the woods hunting when I was young, kept me on the water fishing. So I had every opportunity to do the right thing on my own, and I didn't. The day I went into that prison cell is the day I met Jesus. And I felt it in my soul. So I took that opportunity to really just pump the brakes and start thinking about my mindset, the way I carried myself, and what I was supposed to be. My dad's my hero. He's the greatest man that ever walked planet Earth to me. He's the closest thing to perfect that a human being could be.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking about my faith, my father, all the different things, and I set my mind right then and there to be a different person. I wanted to make a change. I wanted to change people's lives that I come into contact with instead of breaking them, So fast forward, I do the 10 years. tried to be the most positive role model that I could be to everybody that I come across in prison. And I still talk to many of them. They're all out now, successful business owners. Gotten several of them into bass fishing. They now own their first bass boats. But I got out, so at that point, hunting used to be my outlet when I was young.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, having a felony on your record, that kind of takes most hunting away after that, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So my dad's a huge bass fisherman. He's just had a love and a passion for it our whole life. So there's nobody else I'd rather model myself and be like than my dad. So when I come home, all the conversations on the phone from prison that we would have was, I can't wait to get out and go fishing, both of us. So we got out on that boat for the first time. We went to Possum Kingdom. And we're out there, and I backed the boat off the trailer. Now, mind you, I've been gone for 10 years.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, we was either wade fishing or fishing out of a tube because we didn't have the money to have all the fancy boats and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I get in this boat, and it's like I think he's got a 2012 Skeeter, and this was back in 2020. So, it's 8 years old. Mm-hmm. It's got a 250 Yamaha on it, and I start that motor up, and just the feeling that run through my body was like, man. So he gets in the boat. We pull out. I get past the no-wake buoys, hit the throttle, gone. And do just that feeling. So we get out to our spot and we start fishing, and I'm just like, that feeling of peace that hit me when I went into that cell and them doors shut behind me, it come over my body again, and it hasn't stopped.
I can't imagine the transition between being trapped between four walls, having pretty much all your freedom taken from you. That is your life, into going on to Possum Kingdom, and just the beauty. And it feels, some parts of that lake just feels like endless space. Was it a rough transition, like at first? Was it like a vulnerable place to be at first? Getting there.
So this is kind of a cool story, right?
Yeah.
This is part of my main message, and it's to people with addiction problems, people that have been to prison, people that try to make that transition. Yeah. One of the hardest things being in there is you sit and watch everybody come back like a revolving door.
Yeah.
And you're like, man. And me, I'm a I want to know type of person. I want to learn. So at the whole time where I'm changing my mindset from day one, and I'm like, this addiction's not going to beat me. This is not who I am. This is not going to define me. I'm going to create a legacy when I get out.
Yeah.
And I see these guys coming back that I had spoken to out on the rec yard and had multiple conversations with, and they seem like they got their head right. So my first question to all of them is, what happened? Like, why did you come back? There are countless hours of conversation we had about, we'll never be here again, yet here you are. So all you hear from somebody never being in trouble, being in prison for the first time, is society don't want us to succeed. Everything's set up for us to fail. And that's just the furthest thing from the truth, right? Yeah. So in the back of your mind, most people would probably be nervous about coming out here and that whole transition period.
Yeah.
And that's just the furthest thing from the truth, man. What I found when I got out was they walked out the door and they did it to themselves again. Like, you have to make that change. Yeah. The first thing you have to do, you have to find the Lord. You have to. Because without him, we're all just out here just waiting for the devil to scoop you up.
Right.
You find him, and then you go look inside yourself and you forgive yourself for what you had done, if you ever want to make a change in your life or somebody else's. So the transition for me was amazing, to say the least. The people are so welcoming and forgiving and non-judging. It blew my mind. And people that know me and that are close to me, especially from day one, or that already knew me before I went in, they're like, I can't believe, like, if I had to do that time, like, I don't think I would just walk into a job interview and tell the vice president of the company that's interviewing you, what you've been through. And I'm like, I'm always going to keep it real.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest about it.
Yeah. I think especially with faith supporting you through that transition, they would say you find your new identity being born again through Christ. Was part of that your faith, and your newfound faith gave you the confidence to basically step out into the world with a different mindset?
100%.
Yeah.
I don't credit it to nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, it's 100% Jesus Christ working through me, you know, because without that, I could only imagine how some of them guys walk out with they're tough guys. They're not going to show it, but, you know, they're just eat up with fear because they haven't found that faith and they don't have that confidence, and they just give in to the evil that's lurking around the world. And I don't care how you look at it. Drugs were put here by the devil. It's meant to consume somebody's life and take you down a path that you're not supposed to be on.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. Yeah, I credit everything to my faith.
That's amazing. Because I've talked with a few people who have spent some time in prison, and they accredit it to some who have gone back. And part of their transition out is having that new identity. Their eyes are set above towards the Lord and not necessarily behind. Some of the reasons they tripped in the first place is when they got out, they were still in the same mindset. They still had the same priorities. They were trying to find a way to stay out, but they were still amongst the same communities. They still had the same tendencies, and it was almost, as I said, things had changed so much that what became their comfortable space was where they just were for the past 10 years. And I'd only imagine, you know, if you're staying in the Word, staying in the Bible and being encouraged by that and understanding that God has bigger plans for you, that He has a direction, a path for you to succeed. You know, He takes what the enemy meant for evil and He'll turn that for good. So you're out. You had your first experience out on PK. You had that feeling again of this, I want to feel this again. What happened then?
So this is where the rest of it gets kind of interesting, and it's crazy to even think about. You'd have to know my wife to know this. This was, of course, before she was my wife. We were actually working together, and she hired on after I did. We get introduced, and it was just one of them things where you feel a closeness with somebody from the get-go, kind of like it was a meant-to-be type of thing. Yeah. And some years go by. We end up getting together, and she's a city girl. She doesn't fish, doesn't hunt. Nails are always done. So we get together, and this is like right after Christmas, right? So it's still wintertime. It's still cold. Well, March rolls around. So it's a Friday afternoon, and I call Dad, and I'm like, hey, you fishing this weekend? He's like, no, you want to go to PK? So we load up. I take her with me, first time she's ever been fishing like that, and we were bass fishing. But we just happened to pull up in an area. Of course, Dad's got the Lowrance on his boat. I've never seen live scope of any kind, you know, so this is all something real new to me. I put the trolling motor in the water, and I see these dots going everywhere. And I'm like, Dad, what's going on up here? He's like, there's fish all around us. Stripers start schooling.
Wow.
So for 4 hours straight, like almost every single cast, we're catching stripers anywhere from 2 pounds to 6 pounds.
That can be some of the most fun fishing.
Oh, yeah. And this is her first fishing trip. So we spend the day. We have an absolute blast. Of course, we're with my dad, which means more to me than anything in the world. We get back to the house. Sunday rolls around, and I'm just I go into like almost a depression. Like I'm moping around the house, and she's like, what's wrong with you? It's like, I just want to be on the water.
Yeah.
Like I need to be fishing. So we're laying in bed that night. She's sitting here flipping through her phone, and I look over at her. I'm like, you gonna watch this show? And she's like, I'm looking for something. So she starts looking for a boat. So within 30 days, of course, I wanted a big fancy boat right out the gate, but not knowing if she was really going to take to it or not, I didn't want to make that huge investment. So we went and bought a brand new boat. It was a smaller one, little 90-horse motor, 17-foot aluminum boat.
Okay.
You know, it's not really a big investment, but it'd get us out on the water. So we go get this boat, and I live 5 minutes from Lake Granbury. So we would get off work at 4:30 when we worked in Lido. So we would drive home, change clothes real quick. I'd hook the boat up, and we'd run to the lake. We were doing this like 5 or 6 days a week. And it just become more and more of our routine to where now we'll get on the boat, and we may not say 2 words to each other after the boat's launched. She's back there fishing, I'm on the front fishing, and it's just like it's our life. That's what
Yeah.
we do. It's our passion. But for her to not be the person that she is and so understanding with my background and what I need for my soul, you
Yeah.
know, I really don't know where I would be. I credit so much to my dad, to her, to my brother. You know, I had some really supportive family helping me out along this journey, and I don't know if any of it was possible without them. I knew my faith and my mindset was right, and I told them all what I was going to do when I was in prison. So then I got out and I started walking the talk,
Yeah.
and here we are.
That's awesome.
My wife
Into fishing now.
is probably the reason the social media is as big as it is, to be honest. She's a big
Really?
part of it.
Really?
Yeah, she,
So explain to me, what did you just start documenting trips? Like just started recording? What started that?
I get asked this all the time, and I am the most really anti-social media guy you'll ever meet. Like, there's just so much negativity, right?
There is. It's
You can
overwhelming.
literally go on there and post the purest video that you have ever seen, and somebody is going to come back with something negative to say.
Oh, every time.
There may be 5,000 comments on it, but you're going to have a hater on there.
Oh yeah.
And you know, in my prayers, I ask God to give me the patience to deal with these people, but sometimes I slip a little bit, you know.
It's too tempting.
But it you know, I started posting this stuff because, one, cell phones are all over prison. And I was on 3 different prison yards, met a bunch of really good guys that made a mistake, you know. And guys that I had every intention in the world to speaking to when they got out, you know. Not all of them are that way. You know, some of them have every intention just to get out and go right back to doing what they're doing. But the ones that are sitting in there on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all the things, I wanted to have something out there to show them late at night when they're sitting there scrolling through that phone that, hey, dude, we can do this.
Yeah.
Like, we can make it. Everything that he said he was going to do in here, like, he got out and did. Like, we're watching it live. That, and to capture my family's memories.
Yeah.
You know, because it got to where we'd go on a fishing trip, and then by the time I sent all the pictures to my brother, my other brother, my sister, my dad, like, I'm like, man, this is too, I'm just going to post it, you know? So me and my wife's out, and we're in East Texas where my dad retired and moved to. Him and my grandpa's on his boat. And I come pulling around the corner. We're moving from one spot to the other, and I guess they were fixing to do the same thing. And my wife pulled her phone up, and she captures a moment between my dad and grandpa that they didn't know was being recorded. And I didn't even know she was doing it, to be honest with you. She showed me the video after the fact. But Dad helped Grandpa up and helped him down in his chair. And I posted that video, and I want to say it's got like 18 million views from when I first posted it.
Wow.
So you can literally go out and catch the biggest fish that anyone has ever seen. People just don't. It's a fish, you know.
Yeah.
Family, faith, peace. Them are the things that we're about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a like a mid-grade angler at best. You know what I mean? There's so many people that's a better fisherman than me.
You wouldn't know based on your page, but
I get lucky every now and then. You know what I mean? But
I see you throwing the frog a lot.
man, I'm a frog addict. It can be wintertime and 3 inches of ice on the water, and I'm sliding that frog across ice. That's the part about fishing for me. I don't care if that fish is a half a pound. I don't care if it's 10 pounds. When that bite is felt, heard, there's like a little split second in your brain where it just releases all these endorphins that can't be replaced by nothing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that frog bite, just watching that water blow up around that frog, it just does something to my body, and I can't even explain what it does to me.
Yeah, that's one of the few baits that I will leave in my hand. If I go out that day and saying I'm frog fishing, I will go 2 hours without a bite just for the possibility of that one, because I know that one will make the day.
Yep.
That's why I'm out there.
Yep. But you know, it does the same thing for me, right? Whether it's a prickly pear, a flatliner, or a tornado, whatever kind of worm you throw out there, and you feel that tick. You know, it's like your body just, it's go time, you know? And I get comments all the time from mostly older guys. They're like, you don't have to set the hook that hard. I'm like, I know, but I can't help it.
They love leaving that comment.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get what is with bass guys and setting the hook so hard. And it's stuff like that where, and I have to stop myself because I want to offer a logical explanation of why you need to set the hook that hard. But I already know what the response is going to be.
Oh, yeah, it'll turn into a 30-minute argument.
And then I'm going to go down, that rabbit hole of...
The thing that gets me
tempting.
the most on the social media comments, like that one in particular, right? So you got a camera on a YOLO Tech pole or whatever, and you're shooting straight across to the front deck of the boat. You can't see where I'm throwing over here.
Yeah.
You don't know what that frog's behind. I may have to set the hook to get that fish up and over that log quick before he breaks my line.
Exactly.
But yet here you are.
What I always want to say is, one of the first patterns I learned as a bass angler was brush pile patterns. And when you're fishing brush piles in 15, 20 feet of water with a big jig or like a big worm, and you're casting it out 60 feet to 70 feet, if you don't set the hook like that, it's not going to break through the plastic, and you're not getting that fish up and out of there. Yeah. And that's just one of 5 different reasons I could come up with of why we needed to set the hook that hard.
I think the number one is I'm trying to establish dominance from the first second.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I have to admit that, There's something about that slack line hook set that...
Man, sounds like a .22 rifle going off. Send goosebumps down your spine.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. But one question I had for you, what does keeping up with your faith in the 10 years you spent in prison versus now that you're out, what does the difference in that look like?
I just know that over a 10-year period of time, when you're sitting stationary, you make a lot of promises to yourself. You make a lot of promises to your family on the phone. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do too much of that. I just basically told them, look, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And people that know me personally know whenever I set my mind to something, and you can tell by the tone of my voice when I'm determined to do something. So they knew, So mainly it was me just sitting in there talking to myself about how I was going to attack life. And fast forward that to coming home, man, I have like a weird learning disability, I think, to the point. I've never been diagnosed, but I can pick a book up, and we're going to use the Bible, for example. Mm-hmm. If I sit and read more than 2 or 3 chapters at one time, my brain's scrambled like eggs. Like I can't remember any of it, which is one of the reasons why I think the Lord kind of finds me where he does on the lake. Because not everybody's the same, right? Yeah. And he's going to meet you where you're at. Yeah. Always. And because of the peace that I find when I'm out there and my mind's open, and I think that's where he meets me. And it's hard to explain, but it's just inside of me, and I just know that he's there. You know what I mean? Yeah. You pull up to the boat ramp first thing in the morning, right? And it's just starting to crack daylight. The sky's turning pink and blue. The birds are just starting to sing. And it doesn't matter what was going on at work that week. Doesn't matter what kind of drama the world's stirring up. Doesn't matter what's going on in politics. Doesn't matter. Nothing. Nothing matters. It's just you're there with him, and he's got his arms wrapped around you, and your soul's at peace, and nothing matters. And then you're just sitting there waiting on that explosion or that next bite. And then when you leave, it's like every bit of the baggage and the weight that you carried there is still there. It doesn't leave with you. And then it can build up over the next week or the next couple of days, and then you go back and you dump it all off your back again. Yeah. And I think just because of the way that I'm wired, I think the good Lord kind of set that up for me. You also get the comments on social media, the "it must be nice" comments. Yeah. And I got to admit, that's one of my biggest pet peeves that drives me insane, right? You don't know what somebody's been through to get what they have. You didn't walk in their shoes. You don't know you don't know how hard they work. You don't know how much they had to change themselves or what they've been through. I don't judge anybody. I'm just not that guy, right? I get it. We've all been through stuff. And part of the society being so accepting on somebody that has a felony or coming out of prison, the first thing people will tell you whenever they open their hearts and they're being honest, it's like, I'm lucky I never ended up in prison. I did this or I did this. So a lot of them people that throw stones, they don't have the cleanest track record either.
Right. Yeah. I was just talking with someone who did a long time in prison, and when we went back through what they got in trouble for, it was the first time I realized kind of what position you are in life, like whether you have the money to be able to hire a lawyer, whether you have access to getting a good defendant, whether you can even post bail when you get there. I have two friends, and one of them was set up to do quite a bit of time, but they had the resources and they barely did any time. And then one of them had a small charge that didn't even get addressed for a year. They didn't have a great defender. They ended up doing they pretty much got maximum for it because they had a public defender, but the public defender didn't really work too much on their behalf.
So I'm just gonna spill the beans here. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened with me.
Okay.
So I got addicted to drugs. It was meth. And that was the one thing in my life that I ever picked up and did the first time that I couldn't put down. Mm-hmm. It actually absolutely just grabbed a chokehold on me. And I was young. My mom kind of run off on all three of us when we were at a really young age and left our dad with us for the same addiction, right? So I grew up, like in my early years in life, hating the stuff. Mm-hmm. I was so anti-drug when I was a kid, didn't want nothing to do with her because, it took our mother away from us and took my dad's wife away from him. So I was just so anti-drug, and I hit a point to where, and actually it was a conversation with her. She's telling me it's not the drugs and it's not as bad as you think it is, yada, yada. So I try it. And from that very first time, there's never been nothing in my life that'll just grab you and won't let go, right? So I did that stuff. And then, of course, to be able to afford to do it, you end up selling it and getting involved with all the wrong people. So this goes on for some years. I had a warrant put out for my arrest for selling drugs. And I went on the run for like 10 months. And I was in another state. And I got pulled over by a DTF agent in this said state. And I was not me. I was out of my mind. Mm-hmm. I took the cop's gun away from him. Took his car keys. Took off. Took him on a high-speed chase. Lost them. Used that cop's gun to take a car from somebody. There was nobody got hurt. There was no violence. It was all stupid. Biggest mistake I ever made in my life. So whenever I got arrested, I ended up pulling over. And I had like 40 cop cars behind me. There's a helicopter, a news crew. Like, it's bad. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, what did I just do? Mm. Like, I was so high. Consequences for my actions, none of that come into play. So I'm sitting there and I have this pistol on my leg. And I look down at it. And the last thing I want to do is be caged. So I reach down, I slide the slide back on this pistol. There's a bullet in it. I let it slide back forward. I click the safety off, and I got the pistol in my hand. So I'm thinking everything's fixing to end right there. So I go to grab this door handle. And just like whenever them jail cell doors close behind me, I told you I felt something come over my body. It was the weirdest thing because I don't really know if it was my dad's voice that I heard, and I don't know if I was so high that I was just hearing things. But I heard, "It's not your time." Got goosebumps all over my body. I set the pistol back down on my leg for a minute, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what was that, So I reach down, pop the clip out, unload the gun, get out with my hands up. And I'm like, this is it. I'm done, So that state, I tell that to tell this. Mm-hmm. So that state charge, which I'd never been in trouble before, would have gave me like 2 years incarcerated, if that, because they would have gave me a 15 or 20 year sentence. I would have done a small fraction of that got out on probation, and I'd have been right back on the streets doing what I was doing. But because I took that gun, the feds indicted me. And when the feds get you, there ain't no bond. There ain't no, I don't care how much you spend on a lawyer. It's, you're fixing to do your time.
Yeah.
And I needed that. So with everything that you just said about certain people not being able to afford a good defense and this, that, and the other, the Lord knows what they need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if I would have had hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw at an attorney and been able to walk away from there, would that have helped me?
Probably not.
It wouldn't have. Like I said, I had every opportunity in the world to turn my life around, and I didn't. It took me smacking rock bottom face first. I'll almost leave you speechless on it.
Yeah, honestly. When you got in there, what was... You said you felt something changed. Was there still any lingering doubt of like, you know, the severity of what just happened?
No. You talk about, you know, when people are drunk on alcohol or whatever, you hear, throw them in a cold shower.
Yeah.
It'll sober them up, or give them some coffee or something. It almost felt like just getting hit right in the face with a 10-gallon bucket of ice water or something. Like, I instantly just snapped out of it. From the moment I picked that gun up, heard that voice in my head, whether it was something imaginary or I don't know what it was. But then that car ride to the jail, which was I may as well have just pulled over in the parking lot of the jail, because it was like the shortest car ride I ever. So I was like, well, I didn't realize the jail was that close. So I get out, walk in, and it's just like, from that moment on, I knew the severity. And I knew what I was fixing to do. And it's funny because you get to prison, and do you ever seen Shawshank Redemption? Mm-hmm. You see all the people that's like, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. The amount of people in prison that don't think they deserve to be there is crazy. Mm-hmm. I deserved it, every bit of it. And I needed it. You know, my soul needed it. And the coolest thing about being able to get out and do what I've done, I've been home since January of 2020 now. So the coolest thing that I've been able to do since I've been home is have them conversations with some strangers, some friends, that we just talk back and forth about how, by me doing what I've done, gives them hope and drives them to do what they're now currently doing. Yeah. I know guys that are all over the country right now. They own tire shops. They own boat shops. They own stores. I mean, they're just roofers, contractors, and they're out there doing it. Some of them, one of them just bought a brand new Icon boat the other day. And being a fisherman, no.
Cheap at all.
Them aren't cheap. He'd probably be a great one to have on this show, boy. He's out there doing it too, man. And he's just, awesome. But we don't hold nothing against ourselves. We don't. So there's one thing that I always tell everybody when they're asking, when they're in the situation where they're just now trying to turn their life around. Mm-hmm. I'll tell them, if you're walking down a trail and you got your head looked back over your shoulders, you're going to walk straight into a tree. Keep your head forward and pay attention to every step going forward. You're never going to get anywhere looking backwards. And that's just what I've done, man. Of course, if I could go back in time and change the path that I was on and take back the things that I did when I was younger, dude, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, by me doing the things that I did, I have the opportunity now to change people's lives. And them are the things that I do in the background that nobody sees and that I will never put out there on social media. And it's the waking up in the morning and Messenger's lit up with 75 messages. And I get up an hour early in the morning before I go to work. So I got time to kind of look through some stuff. And it'll just be that random message. Dude, I'm struggling. Like, I need help. How did you? And then this leads into a 2-3 week conversation. And I shared something with my wife this morning because a guy made a comment yesterday on one of my posts, and she's looking at it. She's like, well, that's sweet. What's that about? Like, what? It seems like there's more there. So I kind of talked to her a little bit, and I'm like, dude, them are the things that matter to me. Yeah. And that's what I feel like. I don't even know what a content creator was. Like, I basically just did this so my buddies could see, hey, look, when we can get out, we can do it too. We can have a life. We can enjoy these things. And so
That's
my
really
family
cool.
could see the pictures of our fish. And like, I don't know. I think we've been doing it for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Going on 4 years of bass fishing.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. That's not that long time.
no, it's
At
not
all.
really. And I've put my mind to it to the point to where I almost dedicate everything inside my brain, whether it's the hour and a half drive to work
Yeah.
or drive home, or when I'm laying in bed at night and can't sleep, like I'm sitting, plotting, and scheming on how I can trick these fish and what I need to try next. I seen you ask a question on Cher's episode last week about like what advice could you give new fishermen.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, man. And I'm like, the best thing that I could tell somebody is don't bite off more than you can chew right out the gate. Because there's one thing that I want to be more than anything, and I'm not there. I have years to go. If I'd have been doing this bass fishing thing my whole life, it's scary to think where I would be at now, just like any other thing that I could have done, but I didn't. But I want to be a well-rounded fisherman.
Yeah.
I have my old school ways, and if you pay attention on my videos, 90% of the time my live scope's not even turned on, which I kick myself for because I really want to learn it. I want to hone in on it. But I try to pick a bait or two every year, right? So you roll into February. March is fixing to be here. I'm like, okay, so this year I'm going to focus on a swim jig and a bladed jig.
Okay.
I started to say chatterbait, but I'll say Hags hurricane bladed jig.
Correct.
But it's just like I try to pick a couple of things, and we know that frog's going to be in there, right?
Yeah.
Like that's always going to be there.
Always.
But this year it was the swim jig and the bladed jig, and I ended up finally catching a double digit, which has eluded me my entire life on the
I
Hags
remember
hurricane.
seeing that.
Bro, I cried. Like I couldn't.
remember that post. I was so happy for you.
Yeah, it was. And I didn't know, right? Because we wasn't scoping. We got into some fish, got in a general area where we was like in a 50 by 50 area where it was just loaded with big fish.
Man, that's
And
so cool.
well, my wife started it off. She caught a 808, which was her PB, and we had fished from daylight till 3 o'clock without a bite. No, I think my buddy caught a crappie. So we're sitting there, and I hear her like grunting and groaning, and I turn around real quick, and like she's just bowed up back there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's fixing to catch the double digit before me. But I was happy for her at the same time. Like I froze up. I don't know if you noticed me in the video or not, or if you seen that one, which it wasn't a good shot showing the fish, but it kind of showed the chaos going on. Well, my buddy runs and grabs the net, and I'm just sitting there like in awe. And so she kind of started the day off, and then after that, like an hour later, dude, I actually broke off a 10. It got me hung on a tree, and we couldn't get it out. My buddy broke off a 10. And then we go for an hour and a half
I want
without
to ask
catching
what
anything.
lake this is, but I don't want you to expose
Yeah.
it. Oh my goodness.
I'll say everything's bigger in Texas. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I ended up catching that fish, so I throw that bladed jig out, and I'm standing kind of off back behind my buddy a little bit. It's on the 7th turn of the reel that this fish hits. I've watched this video over many times. And she hit, and it was just kind of like, it's not what you expect a 10-pound bass to feel like, but I had already caught like probably over 6 pounds within the last hour and 15 minutes. So I get it in. I'm sitting there looking at my wife out of the corner. I was like, I got that 808. Like I just beat that, you know. Yeah. And you hear her in the background. She's like, well, it's not a 10. And I'm thinking it's not. And my buddy puts it on the scale, and he just looks at me. And this is all off camera. The camera didn't capture it. He just looks at me, and I can tell by the look in his face. And he turns it, and I just tears. The feeling. I mean, you chase something like that your whole life. And some guys, they just stay in them. Yeah. You know, especially with live scope now. Yeah. These dudes have this thing honed in, and they are, dialed. You know, it's an art form, and it's something I want to be able to do. Not there yet. If you told me you give me $1 million right now to go scope one fish between now and dark, I'd probably lose $1 million. Like that's just how bad I am at it.
Hey, you're catching fish though, so you figured something out.
So that goes back to the whole wanting to be a well-rounded angler, right? And live scope's part of that now. You got to be able to catch fish off deep, which I can catch them deep, but I'll also go out there if I'm not using live scope, and I may waste an hour before I realize there's no fish there, you know. You turn that thing on, it kind of gives you the idea, and that's what I do a lot of times. I'll look for bait fish or just see if there's fish in the general area, then I just go to fishing, you know. But But, dude, for the new anglers, that's the one thing I would say. Take a bait or two, break it down every year, and just really figure out how to use it really well. It's not a race that you have to start and finish in one step.
Yeah.
When we're 80, we're still going to be learning stuff about bass fishing.
Yeah. Get really good at the fundamentals.
Yep.
That's what I've learned from it is be able to figure out a way to catch fish in all conditions and all scenarios. And honestly, from a point of tournament fishing, it is to focus on like picking up patterns. And honestly, the most difficult for me was knowing when to let go of when you've made the wrong decision. You know, when everything says these fish should be behaving this way, it's when do you make the call of we're abandoning what worked all day yesterday and we're starting from scratch. But I think rounding out those fundamentals, like you said, and becoming a well-rounded angler, those are the guys who stay in the top half of tournaments. It's one of the reasons why when they implemented Bassmaster was doing live scope only 50% of the lakes, there's still anglers who were at the top.
That they said were scopers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're still there on the lakes where they're not scoping. Now, they might not be sitting at number 1, number 2, but, I mean, they're in the top third pretty darn consistently. And, you know, that's a perfect scenario of where being a well-rounded angler, to be able to do both, to be able to go up north and catch smallies, to be able to come back down south and go flip trees or stumps on fork. I like your advice. It's just like, figure out one bait, get good with it, and just keep going.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is now that we didn't have when we were kids is social media is right there at your fingertips. And you got all these people that are putting content out there, and they're telling you, they're giving you the layout and the blueprint. Now you just got to go put in the time and the work, and you got to, you can go figure out, okay, well, I'm trying to fish East or West Texas or South Texas. It's this time of year. Here's this guy that I follow that fishes there. What's he throwing this time? Like, you got all that done for you now. Now you just got to go get good with the baits, all right?
Wow. All right. So I want to ask, and now I really want to ask because you said you've been bass fishing for 4 years. How'd you get connected with Hags?
So I moved to Granbury when me and my wife got together because she's lived there most of her life. So we move out there. There's a little tackle store out there. Shout out Tri-Lakes. They start selling, had been selling, the Hags Tornado. And they were in these old packages. Looked like they were kind of done out of somebody's basement, off an old computer or something. And I'm like, I picked them up and I'm like, check these things out. So I bought some of them, started catching fish on them. Then Justin ends up buying the company. I didn't know Justin. Never had met him, didn't know who he was. I'm already using the Tornadoes, which was all that Hags had, right? Mm-hmm. So Justin buys the company. I'm making my posts, and I'm tagging Hags. I'm showing pictures of the baits. I'm just steady posting. And one day I'm in Stephenville. My buddy Nathan worked out there. I was off work. I had to pick up a few things, and I'd go visit with him every now and then. We'd sit and watch fish and talk, whatever. So we're sitting there. Justin comes in to drop off some stuff. So Nathan's like, hey, Justin, meet Tex. And I want to say Justin's like, I know who he is. And he comes over, shakes my hand. We start talking. So next thing you know Justin's a busy man. He's always going 90 different directions. 2 hours goes by. We're still sitting here talking. He gave me a Hags hoodie, and we built a relationship right there that day that just never stopped. And, whenever he got a hold of Hags, and when this conversation come up that day, what I love about them the most, it's not only the fact that their products are quality products and catch fish. And I'm not ever going to put my name out there on something that I don't believe in. That's my number one thing. If I'm not using it, I'm not going to tell you I'm using it, right? So before even knowing the owner of Hags, I'm sitting here telling everybody, hey, these worms are what these Tornadoes are what I'm catching fish on. Well, he's sitting here and he's talking, and he's like, man, I'm sitting watching the industry, and, he's like, I understand it's a business and people want to make money. He's like, but I want to make products for the blue-collar angler. I want to make products for the guys that can go to work 60 hours a week, get out, decide they want to fish a tournament, and because they bought our baits at half the cost of other people, they can still afford to get into the local derby and go buy them a hamburger. And so the urchin thing started coming out, and he was already working on the pair in the background. So another company put theirs out. They just happened to get to the finish line first. Well, then here comes Hags, and some of them baits people are selling for $20 plus, or some people's even selling them for more online. And he comes out with this prickly pair for $7.99, and it's the quality's the same. And I just watch him work, and the way that he tries to, he could be having these astronomical profit margins, and he don't, because he's giving back to the angler, and that's what I want my name behind. So over the past couple years, we've built a relationship, and if you get in my boat right now, and I say this on a video from time to time, or I'll make a post. I had a kid get my boat the other day, which is something else I'd like to talk about. Yeah. First time I ever took him fishing, and he asked for something. I told him where it was at, and he's like, "My Lord," he's like, "Hey, there's nothing but Hags in here." Yeah. Which is true. 90% of everything that I have in my boat is Hags. That's just how much I believe in the company, and I believe in Justin, and I believe in his mission and what he's doing for anglers across the world. Yeah. I used to say the country, but now it's across the world. They're selling. It really is. Yeah, they're selling to several countries now.
So you're telling me that story you wanted to share. You said you had a kid. You took a kid fishing.
So I did this deal. So the social media thing started blowing up. The one that I focus on the most is Facebook. Of course, there's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. But I really, really focus on Facebook. And I got kind of stalled out at I didn't know what a lot of followers were. Still don't, really. But I got stalled out at 20,000 followers for a few months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it was. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I got to get these numbers up. So I just make a post one day. And I'm like, hey, y'all help me get to 30,000. When we get to 30,000 followers, whatever, I'm going to start picking random followers to take out fishing. No charge. I'm not a guide by any means, but I'm going to start blessing people back for blessing me. All the engagement, awesome. all the time they spend reading my stuff and liking my stuff month over month over month. So I hit 30,000, and my brother sends me a text. He's seen it before I did, really. He sent me a text, and he's like, better get to drawing names. And I'm like, oh, I did say at 30,000. So anyway, it's kind of a weird story. I'm still old school. I'll make a post and be like, okay, it's time for another drawing. I got time to take another trip. Who's interested in this one? And there'll be anywhere from 50 to 150 people will drop interested in the comments. So I take them names. I'll write them down on a piece of paper, tear them up. I know there's different ways to do it on the phone, the Wheel of Fortune wheel and all the other things. Yeah. But I'm so old school. So I'll do this, drop the names in a hat, pull a name out. That's who I take fishing. So I met this kid at Walmart in Granbury. All the tackle stores were closed. We were trying to hurry up and get out of town one day after work, and I needed some line. And I didn't even know if Walmart carried the line that I needed, but we stopped by there, and I walk up in the fishing aisle, and this kid's just sitting here kind of staring at this line. And he knew who I was, and we talked for a little bit. And I ended up drawing his name. And on the very next trip, drew his name out of a hat, out of 110 people. It was the wildest thing ever. And I even hate to admit this. I already said it on social media, but we got our butt kicked on Granbury. It was so bad. And I didn't even realize until the next day it was a full moon. It was the new moon, and I know Granbury's going to whoop you in the mornings if you go out there on a new moon. And, man, this kid, he just sent so many messages over the period of the next several days like, dude, don't worry about us not catching, what I learned from you and being able to be on the boat with you, man, them are the things that mean more than anything in the world. Because at the end of the day, I remember what it was like to not have a boat. And we're out there wading around and getting our clothes all dirty, and we're in waist-deep water and snakes swimming around us, and there'd be a bass boat come by, and we're all just in awe of it. Yeah. And I remember what that was like, man. So to be able to take somebody that's not at that stage in their life yet to where they have been able to acquire some of the toys that some of us have, man, and some people have bass boats and still want to go just to go and hang out, Yeah. But to be able to bless people and give back, and even if that means we're just going to go out there and talk for a couple hours or whatever. Like, I think it's something cool that I'd like to see more people doing. And I try to engage with everybody too, whether it's some emojis or whatever. I'm letting you know, like, I seen your comment.
Yeah.
Like, I try to read everything. The prickly pears have made the messenger kind of crazy here the last couple months on the rigging and everything. So I kind of had to turn the notifications off on it, and I'll go through every couple days and respond back to everybody. But there's guys that I did look up to. You know, as I'm coming home, I'm getting into fishing and I'm watching these guys, and you may leave 100 comments on their page and you never get a response. They don't ever like it. Mm-hmm. May send them a message asking them a question about something. They're not going to respond to you.
They may not even allow messages be sent to them.
Or it'll go to a business chat of some sort. Nobody ever sees it, as far as I know. But I was like, as this thing started growing, I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy.
No.
I just can't, you know. So that's where that fishing trip come from, that 30,000 followers. So now every time I get a free moment when the wife's not going or I'm by myself, I'll hop on a couple days before, try to bless somebody's game.
That's awesome. I love that you made that decision using fishing to give back. That was one of the convictions I had early on in fishing. It was right after I won a couple tournaments, and I know I've shared it a couple times on the podcast, but fishing really helped me get over losing one of my closest friends. And there was a moment on the water I was just convicted, like, you know, the resources I had to be able to go get a boat, to be able to have the time on the water, to be able to buy the lures, to be able to get the setup I had. I couldn't deny having that opportunity helped me get through that at an exponential rate. There's something about being out on the water catching fish that was very therapeutic to me, that it got me in a space where I was able to, you know, in the back of my mind, maybe not saying it out loud, but think through some scenarios, some beliefs I may had, or trying to just work through some fears I had. And then when that day I was just kind of convicted out on the water, the first thing I felt after it, one of the things I did was to go help out high school students. You know, I wanted to volunteer as an assistant coach. I prayed about, like, maybe getting the opportunity to be a captain for THSBA, and I kid you not, less than 24 hours later, someone on my Facebook page said, "Hey, I got an opportunity to fish the Opens, but I'm captaining this high school team. Is there anyone who'd want to split time with me on it?" And it was just immediately, like right after the prayer, it was there. And when I reflect on it, I thought back and I was like, you know what? There's a bunch of kids starting fishing. I've spent a ridiculous amount of hours in the last few years on the water. There's a lot I figured out that works, and there's a lot I figured out doesn't work. If I could take that and kind of elevate them and like share with them what I know, and then see, you know, let them use that information, and one, obviously fact check it, you know, because I can be wrong on some certain things, but, you know, at least have a template to start. And that has been the most joy-giving process. Honestly, the first stories I heard about, like, becoming a captain at THSBA, they're like, oh man, it's this and that. I've never experienced that for a second.
None of the bad stuff?
None of the bad stuff. It's been such a cool experience to see, especially at that age too, to like pick someone up as a freshman and then follow with them through their senior year, to see them grow as individuals and not just anglers.
As a team.
But yeah, to see their friendship grow, to see them grow from being kids to young men, and then just seeing what fishing has done in their life. And then, you know, this team I'm with now, just to see how good they've become, how consistent they've become, and going from like, I remember one of them I met on Grapevine, and he was with his dad, and he rolled down the window and he said, "Hey, sir, I got a tournament coming up out here. You know, do you have any tips for this?" He could fish, you know, around me. Like he's become so good at such a good angler. Now I've gone from teaching to holding a camera, and I'm like, what do y'all want me to do? Like, I trust them 100%. Yeah. I find if you've spent time with, investing in someone, teaching them, or just even just like being there to give them access, because THSBA, they don't let them go out alone. Like, they need a captain, just to give them that opportunity on the water and then see them succeed. Man, I find that more rewarding.
Can't put a price tag on it, can you?
You can't. That's more rewarding than me going and getting a trophy or something. It's like, cool. Like, yeah, I hope I'm getting trophies with the amount of hours I've spent on the water. But seeing other people do it, it's never going to be time wasted. When you're giving to someone else, and even on the day that you had that wasn't a great day and you probably got whooped out there, you're not losing anything. You gave that person an experience and they learned from it. And that's probably why they followed up, is it's like, man, I want you to understand, like, you taking time to show me what you know is so valuable, whether it produced or not.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you don't know what that person's going through in life, because I've had conversations on a boat that I would have never had in someone's living room or in a store or even on the phone. You get within a foot of somebody and you're out there and you're looking at all this beauty and the nature and the birds and for some reason or another, whatever's meant to be talked about will come up. If somebody's got something weighing heavy on their heart, there's going to be a way that the good Lord works that into the conversation. And them people may not say anything to you about what they're going through or what they're struggling through, but for some reason or another, I'll find myself talking about some experience that I had or something, and then a week later I'll get a message and be like, bro, I was kind of going through some stuff, and remember when you said whatever it was, like, dude, that helped me so much. I'm like, there's the Lord again, just working his magic, and we don't even know it.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
It's so apparent. Tell us, how do we keep up with you?
So let's see, we have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube's kind of on the back burner. I just post videos there because my dad don't have social media, so I put all the videos there for him to watch. But TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everything's under Tex Haynes Fishing.
Awesome. And before you go, I want to ask you, what is the one thing fishing has given you?
Peace of mind. Peace of mind. There's times, even me, I don't know anybody that I've run across in life that is as headstrong as I've become throughout this process. But there are times where, whether it's the negativity going on in the world, the stress from work, where I need to shut that stuff down, I take a quick fishing trip, and like I said in the beginning, it's gone. So peace of mind and the patience that it's teaching me, which I don't know that you're ever going to get a guest set across from you that doesn't mention patience and what fishing has taught them. And that's probably one of my biggest things that I needed to learn in life. But just a reset, ain't no different than a computer or a phone. Sometimes it just gets too much information in it, and you need to hit that reset button. You need to turn it off and turn it back on. When I hit that boat ramp, that's the power going off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
That's it, brother. That's why I do it.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your testimony with us. I know there's people out there who are going to hear that, and this is going to maybe be that change for them, that wake up moment. And man, I look forward to maybe getting the opportunity to go out fish with you a little bit. And thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir. It was an honor and a privilege. Appreciate it.